Hey yo, I wanted to talk a little bit about Tekken 8's balancing now that season 1 is slowly coming to an end and we have season 2 to wait for, I guess. So I'm currently at Tekken God with Lee. I have every other character at Tekken King, meaning I won't be able to comment on the high end, like tournament level play, because I'm not good enough for that. However, I have played each character quite a bit, meaning I think I will have some decent points about every character. Obviously, I will try to take into account what I see at the high-end tournaments as much as I can, at least not to ruin the play at that level, but I can't comment on that because I have no experience there. Generally though, I think the power level of the game is too high, which means that I will suggest a lot more nerfs over buffs. If any buff, to be honest, and there will be a bunch of characters that I will leave as is. I have a couple of universal changes I'd like to see. Firstly, heat dash should not be universally +5. If I, for example, look at this heat engager, it's -12 on block normally, and of course, if I do the heat dash out of it, it is +5. I think they should be re-evaluated case by case basis. Each move should have its own frames there. I think general good rule of thumb is just give it like a +5 or +6 from what it is normally on block. So for example, that move would go from -12 to like -6 or -7. I think that would make sense. That would be like fair. Now it's a bit dumb having like some of the strongest moves in the game just go, okay, I'm just +5 now because I used my hit out of that. Other like generic change is low high strings should not jail, meaning you should be able to duck the second hit here. It's like not every character has this, but it's still something that shouldn't be like, in my opinion, should be universally just removed. Lastly, armor moves. I don't like the way it like powers up if you hit into it. So I would like to change stat so that it's back to the way it was in Tekken 7, where you can actually punish them on block even if you like jab into it. That is quite a lot, like the biggest like universal changes I would like to see. Lastly, a couple of more specific that are still quite universal. Electrics, mainly. I think all electrics, maybe not like normal Jins, but like electric with God Fists, have a little bit too much tracking. Not much, just a tiny bit. And the recovery on whiff is a bit much. It feels like you have to just kinda flash duck and like punish them without reacting with just okay, he's gonna do electric flash duck like while standing for example, to get a punish, and that's a bit much. Just a couple of more frames on whiff, that would be fine. On block, it's really strong. On hit, it's really strong. So I think having it a little bit weaker on whiff would be fine. So character specifics next. Let's look at Alisa. Mainly Alisa, the design to me at least screams poke, be annoying. And in that vein, I would like to see her damage nerfed. Her damage from combos is quite high in my opinion. And of course it's not hard to do. So I would like them to like focus on the poking side. Her movement is insanely strong. The chainsaws are a bit dumb, mainly the frames when you enter chainsaws, I think. And those are the things that I think Alisa should be changed. Obviously this would be a generic change, so you could duck that. That would, for example, make actually this interaction much more interesting, because you'd get to play between, like, do I punish or will she rip the second hit on block, for example. So I think that's about it for Alisa. Like, mainly the damage, combo damage is on the higher end, and then again, the way she enters chainsaws and the frames with chainsaws are a bit dumb. For example, this way to enter chainsaws on block, it's like -4, and again I have the heat dash launcher here at the end. It's just a bit much, because again, either you guess wrong and you hit a heat dash, or you guess right and like it's like all you get is like she's getting +5 into another mix-up, or if you guess wrong right on the chainsaw entrance, either she can block, she can move, she can still power crush, she can like if you do something a tiny bit slower, this shit is really strong, like really fast. It's really like overwhelming the way I see it. Next character would be Asuka. Honestly, mostly I would leave Asuka as she is. She's a bit on the annoying side in my opinion, but I don't think you should touch her too much. One thing I would like to change is this, as far as I remember, forces crouch, meaning you can't step it to like one direction. I think that's a bit much. It is a really strong low poke, I think. Being +4, I-20, I think it's really strong. I don't think it should like force crouch on hits. Outside of that, it's fine. The plus frames on some situations are a bit dumb. I think Asuka should be like a defensive powerhouse, which she kind of is. Like all the cans, down back 1, all these sabakis that will actually just murder you if you press into them. It's a lot. This shit being +3 is a bit dumb. Overall, though, I don't think Asuka is too overtuned by any means. I would actually kind of leave her as is and re-evaluate after other changes. Combo damage is also quite nice. Like if you do, I don't know what the optimal combo is. This is what I did while I was playing, and it does quite a lot of damage. Like it's what 76 damage with very little to any no execution. Admittedly, I do need the heat burst there, but it's good. I wouldn't touch that too much yet. Again, other characters first, and then Asuka. Azucena, I would also actually leave Azucena as she is currently. The one change I would like to see is while standing 1. This being a counter hit launcher is, in my opinion, a bit dumb. Especially since it's also safe from block. I-13 mid counter hit launcher. Obviously, it does come from crouch, but yeah, it's a bit much. You should, I think, just remove the launch and make it so that you get like guaranteed follow-up in forward 3 or something like that. That would be fine. Some of the forward 4 options are a bit nuts, but I would probably not touch these too much at the moment. And of course, Azucena has a move like this as well. Low high, should not jail. It being -13 is fine for like weaker end of the play where people aren't used to ducking, so they can still punish it. But I think if you are throwing this out and your opponent is ready to duck it, I think it should be duckable instead of what it is now. Brian, I would say, is a bit overtuned. It's mostly his frames and how safe he is. Hatchet being +5 kind of stops you from playing the game, and Hatchet does so much damage, especially in counter hit. Like it actually just kills you on counter hit, which is kind of insane. So I think that I like the way Brian's Hatchet works as like the damage tool. I'm not the biggest fan of the +5 essentially. That's something that I would like to be changed a bit. So maybe +3, +2, something like that. +3 sounds fair. Like it's similar to Jin down back 4, for example. There, then, and you can still play the game at +3, but +5 is just kind of stops you from playing the game against Brian. QCP1 is similar. +5, it should maybe be neutral at best. +5 is a bit much, considering again on hit is so much damage. And it just, and on counter hit obviously it gives you a full launch. I don't know what, like this is just the combo I was doing. It's not good damage, but it's like it's Brian damage, so it's going to hurt. Next up, forward 3. This being neutral on block is a bit dumb, especially since it can be even +2 and at times at max range that would have been +2 on block. I think it just remove a couple of frames from it, so that it's like -2 at point blank and neutral on like max range. That would make it so that you can again, like both players get to interact, but Brian has a disadvantage, even though Brian has a really strong like 1-2-4, meaning if you don't put 1, Brian would still win against that with this. I think that would make sense. 1-2-1 shouldn't be natural, fully natural on counter hit. you have 1-2-4 for that. Secondly, it being -6 on block is a bit much. I think maybe -9, maybe even -10. -9 would already be kind of fine, to be honest. I would like to see it be -10, but just it's a bit much being able to just throw out the mid there and with 0 risk. And also, since it's obviously a counter launcher without like the nerf of off-axis which it had before, it's a bit much. QCF 1+2, this move is insanely strong, mainly because it is essentially just holding mid, like, and safe on block, obviously. Just small nerf somewhere with that. I don't know what specifically you could change, but something tiny. 4-2-1-2. I'm talking about the heat specific or snake eye specific. This being like -3 or -2 depending on where you finish it. It's a bit nuts, considering again, like, if Brian just moves afterwards, it's really hard to deal with. So maybe on block, maybe have it a little bit worse. Not much, just 1 or 2 frames. It doesn't need much by any means. It is also really strong on hits and not too hard as a taunt follow-up, for example. So I think it's a really strong string. Lastly, taunt. Mostly is fine. I think the biggest thing is the follow-ups are a bit strong when it's the easy follow-ups. So things like 4-3 or even just like the jab strings. I think you get a little bit too much considering how simple they are to do. If you try to do like jet upper though, for example, I think that's fine. I don't think I will land a jet upper now, but we'll see. I think that damage being unscaled is completely fine. If you get hit by taunt jet upper, I feel like the Brian kind of deserved that. So I don't think that is just too much of an issue. But like all the other easier follow-ups are like fine, just a tiny bit too strong. I'm a bit too fast apparently at the moment. But yeah, I think it's just tiny bit too fast. Not much. It gives you like a tiny bit of too much damage. Outside of that though, Brian is fine. It's an interesting character. The combo damage is absolutely bonkers, which is fair. Like again, that's supposed to be Brian's strength, the way I see it at least. But having the safety combined with that of like essentially never being -3, it's kind of insane. Next up, Claudio. Overall, Claudio is a really strong character in Tekken 8, I think. However, I think he's a good character to have as a top tier. There is one big change I would like to see. This move should not be as good as it is on block. Like -2 is a bit much. Especially like considering the range where it essentially resets to neutral, like just a backdash away to, and Claudio gets to do whatever they want. So that I would like to see a tiny bit of a nerf to, not much, just like have it at -6 or something, that would be fine. The like non heat or non-starburst version is fine. It's mainly just the starburst version. It's a tiny bit too much. Obviously this low, for example, is insanely strong. However, Claudio really doesn't have other lows outside of this. All of these are really risky, and even like this is, for example, somewhat seeable. I think that's fine. It's mainly just the down back 1+2, especially since it's just a like really evasive launcher that like, and Claudio's damage is high. It ends up being a bit too strong, in my opinion. Devil Jin, people say that he's terrible. I don't think so. For intermediate play, obviously, like the electric is absolutely insanely good. He has some annoying ass gimmicks to deal with at intermediate level play. Obviously, those don't apply to the high end. So I wouldn't like to see him buffed too much, but a couple of really small buffs would be nice, I think. The electric is, I mean, Hell Sweep is obviously really strong at intermediate level. You have access to a decent like mid. I don't think I have the execution currently to do the instant while standing too. There it is. But it's just, it's a bit annoying to fight, and all of the like setups from this move at the wall and stuff, it's quite annoying. The couple of buffs I would like to see on him are mainly the hit smash got nerfed a bit too much in my opinion. It already had the issue of like on hit it's kind of like, on block I mean, it's kind of bad. So I would like to see it buffed a tiny bit, mainly the range. I don't think the tracking should be touched, but the range, so that like you can punish like some moves from a little bit further away. Like if they wave something dumb at like decent range, you could buff the range, not much, a tiny bit. And secondly, the down forward 1 being -6 kind of stops you from playing the game. I would like to see that specifically changed from -6 to like -3, maybe -3 or 4. -3 sounds fair, I think. It has the follow-up. I know it's high. I don't think I've seen anybody duck this shit, and it's natural on counter hit. I think that's fine. I like mainly just -3 instead of -6, and this would like legit be fine. The chainsaws are annoying. This shit is annoying, but he's still considered weak by most people, so I probably wouldn't touch those at the moment. Now we get to the Hornet's Nest of Dragunov. He's way too strong. However, if there is going to be a top tier, which every single game will always have a top tier, I think Dragunov, along with characters like Claudio, is the perfect top tier to have. What do I mean by that? Is he's not a gimmick character, he doesn't do anything stupid. It's just he does so much damage that it just kind of wins the game if he hits you with once. So I think he is the perfect top tier. I don't know what exactly to change about him. Maybe look at the damage. Sneak 4 is still insane. It's hard to balance though, because again, it is the perfect top tier to have. But it's still like he's still beating you with Tekken, so I don't mind it that much. It's an interesting character in that. I'd really like to change with back 4-3 where you can actually step it now. Maybe change more changes like that. Again, this launcher is insanely strong. But outside of that, I mostly would maybe touch the damage a bit from some things, but he's fine. Like, I would not touch him too much, even though he is insanely strong. Again, he is a great character to have as the top tier of the game. Next up, let's see. Feng. Also an interesting character in that I think Feng is really strong. However, I wouldn't nerf him too much. Like, I don't know how to nerf him specifically. Maybe the down back 3. This shit being like so fast, so evasive. The sidestep launch, maybe something from back turn, maybe the throws from back turned. Up for 2 pushback, it should be like consistently punishable at -10. Outside of that, it's fine. There is something else to consider, but it's not that big of a deal. I think his blast frames are insane. Tio. Oh, and the back 4. This move is absolutely bonkers strong. But I don't know what exactly to touch about him. He feels really strong playing him and playing against him, but it's hard to point a single thing that he does too well, because I think he does everything just really well, just nothing super overtuned, so I don't know what to do exactly. I think he's a little bit too strong though. Hwarang. I think mostly Hwarang is fine. I would not touch him too much. Mainly I think the counter hit sidestep 4 is a bit much, giving a full launch. It is quite a fast, and because it comes from a sidestep, it tends to evade shit. For a full launch, it's a bit much. Outside of that though, I don't know what to do. I wouldn't change him too much. You could say the same argument for down back 4 into stance, because mainly the fact that you can't like interrupt him here, even on block, mostly. But other than that, I would not touch Hwarang. This giving the full launch obviously is a bit much, like considering the other things. But it's not the end of the world. I would mostly leave Horang as is and see what happens if you change it, many of the other characters, and then come back to Horang if needed. Next up, Jack. I'd say he's mostly fine. He's poking like the basic tools of down forward 2 or down back 1, down forward, like it's good. One thing that is annoying in my opinion, I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying it's really annoying, is 1-1 into stance. Being +4 is a bit much. Because if you do just 1-1 into no stance, it's -14. So like the fact that you essentially get a mix up from stance here is, it's a bit nuts. However, obviously it's not that great because you can still like big jab out of almost all of the options. You can down like generic down 4 almost all of the options. It is like it's not that OP. It's just really annoying considering this is also like a lot of damage. What, 32 I mean, I think. So like just throwing this shit out into stance, like it's, if it hits, like this stance is really scary, especially in heat with the launching follow-ups, guard breaks, things like that. But like it's just the fact that it goes from like -14, which it was in Tekken 7 as well, I believe, to being +4 is a bit much with the stance transition. Mostly though, I would leave him as he is. Jin, again a really strong character. A few moves should be nerfed with Jin in like the way I see it. 2 and 4. I would not make this punishable on block. I would change so that it can't be like done immediately. So what I mean by that is you shouldn't be able to do it like this. You would need to do it like you'd always have the delay there. That would make it actually steppable, which would make it more interesting and significantly weaker if you're looking to step that, I think. As for other things, down to being -14 is insane. I would not touch the frames too much outside of that, just -14 would be nice. Up forward 2 being safe is insanely strong as well, obviously. And it also does give you a wall splat. It's not as evasive as, like, for example, Thing's similar move, but it is insanely strong still. Lastly, forward 4. This combo is not okay. Like, the way it works in Tekken 7 was you either did a hard pickup with a while-standing 4, or you went in the stance and you lost the benefits of, well, not going in the stance for an easier pickup and better combo. I think that was perfect. I think that's how this should work in Tekken 8 as well. But he's the main character, so he needs that easy option there. Back forward 2-3 shouldn't be safe in block, because you do have the high follow-up option as well. So this being safe is just a bit dumb. -9. It's a bit dumb. Outside of that though, like I think Jin shouldn't be touched too much, even though he is insanely strong at the moment. Everybody just knows the matchup so well at the moment, I feel like. June, I actually really struggled with June when I was climbing with her. However, I do think that at intermediate level she is quite strong. The can-cans are still nice, all of the stance like options are really nice. I think the reason I struggle is, one reason is probably I did it at like 5 AM in the morning, so that ended up being an issue. But I don't think you should touch June at the moment. I wouldn't say she's OP, I wouldn't say she's too weak for intermediate level. The top players are saying she's terrible. But if you buff her to be like good for the top players, I think she's gonna be a terribly overtuned at like intermediate and lower levels. So I wouldn't touch her too much at the moment. Again, see what happens after it make other changes. If she's still useless, maybe give her something. If she's suddenly good, nice. Next up, Kazuya, everybody's favorite. Personally, forward 4-2 is insanely good for Kazuya, I think. Especially the Heat version, which is essentially homing launchers. That homing should absolutely not happen. Um, it, that's one big change. Other thing, this shouldn't be -8 with pushback. It should leave you point blank with -9, or maybe even just be -10. It is like the second hit is a counter hit launcher, and it's fully natural on counter hit. So especially at the wall, just throwing this shit out is so strong, because if they press, you get a free wall splat. If they don't press, you're -8. Who cares? It's fine. Like since he has so many other options from that, mainly this which does good damage, and he has also the heated gauge, which is neutral and forces crouch. It is nice. I would probably nerf this a bit. Again, -10, maybe -9 with no pushback. Either one would be fine, at least to start off with. And FF2, especially in heat, the tracking is a bit nuts. As well as, of course, the electric changes that should happen to Heavy Mishima. King.
Get ready for the next battle.
King is, in like the way I see it, King is insanely strong. Firstly, the armor moves he has are way too good, especially this follow-up here, which is safe on block and gives heat. It's super strong. This armor move overall is insanely strong. Another thing, I personally really dislike the Jaguar step. I think it evades so much. Admittedly, it is quite risky because you can get floated out of it, but it is just insanely evasive. I would maybe change something about that as well, because I feel like the way he was designed is like he's supposed to have quite a weak movement, which this kind of negates, because it is better than any backdash in like the evasive side at least. Secondly, this wave should not be a thing. Like, it should not be the easy version. Seeing the top kings do the hard wave dash was cool. Now it's just eh. This move being +5 is a bit much. Just +3 as well, just like Ryan, for example, Hatchet. Outside of that, it's fine. Down for 2-1. This shit should not be in the game. It is essentially a hit confirmable I-13 mid launcher with decent damage. Obviously the damage isn't too high, but it's still good, and I probably can't do the optimal ender, which is sidestep, jab into while running 2 +4, but it's not like, when I played King to Tekken King, I did practice that ender. I did end up landing it quite often, quite consistently. It's not that hard, it's just I haven't played King. I think that's a bit much. So the way I would change this is either remove the counter hit, like launch follow-up, like give him like a mix-up, essentially give him like a ground throw chance here, or make it so that he has to commit to the move. Either one would be fine. Honestly, both would be fine, but that's something I would look at least. Lastly, the chain throws are a bit annoying. This is something that most people will most definitely not agree with, but I think when you do a chain throw, for example this one, I don't remember the correct inputs, but I think that when you do a chain throw, you shouldn't be like, the first throw shouldn't be unseeable. Like, you should be able to see what hand he uses for the first throw. Obviously after that it should all be guesses. However, as a trade-off, I think he should be given the option of, like, if you do the correct inputs, like if you look at the like absolute correct inputs instead of the easy options you see nowadays, you should get a little bit more damage. Not much, a tiny bit, but a little bit more damage would be nice. That would mean that things would do like absolutely insane damage against good kings if the chain throw lands, but you don't have to guess on the chain throw. You should be able to break it on reaction, especially on like normal hits. Maybe you could have it be like hard to break on counter hit again. That's fine, but like essentially just having the option of like this shit being seeable would be, in my opinion, would make sense. Next up, Kuma. Firstly, I'll mention that Panda is essentially same as Kuma, but he's missing, like, Panda is missing all the things I would like to have changed from Kuma, or if she has the thing, the same changes would apply. So for both of their wall combos, it's a bit too like strong. Like if you do it correctly, like the follow up is a bit much. Don't know why I'm bad, so I can't do it at the moment. I'm still too early there, I think, but like it's just a bit much. There it is. Other than that, though, like that's fine. Maybe you could make it so that you can quick stand to avoid the butt follow up. But if you quick stand, he can do something else like 1+2 that will just wall splat you again for insane damage. So it comes into, do you want to take that like butt slam, or do you want to die getting up? Like that would make sense. That would be fine. It's not too big of a change, but something like that would be fine. Same applies for Panda, of course. And then secondly, with Kuma's heat is dumb. The electric is insanely strong. Some slight touch to it would be nice. And other thing, the heat smash being I-13 homing is insane. I think they should, like, well, it's not homing, but it does track quite a lot. So I would probably touch that somehow. The tracking, maybe something else. Essentially giving it so that if you do an electric into a heat smash, you could step this heat smash. Something like that might be nice. Outside of that, hard to say. His chip damage is of course absolutely crazy as well. Combo damage is good, but I wouldn't touch those at the moment, at least. Like if you look at this, that's on hit. Like that's so much damage, chip damage obviously, but I would not touch that yet. Mainly just like the wall combo, maybe looked at a little bit, and then like the heat. Next up, it's Lars. Okay, Lars is a character I really dislike. So at higher ends of play, he kind of sucks from what I can tell and how it seems. However, the issue is that to defend against Lars, your defense needs to be very good. Like if you're lacking at all, Lars kind of just runs and wins the game for free. So the issue is that Lars plays himself while playing, so being like he's super simple to play, but defending against him is insanely hard. I actually don't know how to fix him so that he would be decent at higher ends, so buff at higher ends and nerf at lower ends. However, some things that are, in my opinion, just really dumb. It's moves like 2-1 into the limited entry stance, I think that's called. Because like you get a free mix up here on hit, obviously, and on block it's it is not punishable or anything. It's -6 only, and things like orbital just evades most of the moves people can do here. It is insanely annoying to deal with, but it's not that broken. Other thing is that like he has so many options from like while standing 2, for example, that option selecting the stance enters here is insanely hard. Obviously, like things like this shit is annoying to like look at and annoying to deal with, especially since he has the like scary options from the stances. I-14 launch is nice. This is generic change. All 1-1-1s should be like this. Should be like last hit should be high. You should be able to duck that and launch. Like it's with Lars, it's just he has so many options. A lot of the time while I was playing Lars, I would do this a bunch of times and then just do while standing 1 when I thought they would duck, or do something like this when I thought they would duck. Especially at the wall, I would just do this like twice. This into this, and then I would do this and wall splat into dead. And it's like while it is doable, like while you can interrupt him here, it's really scary, and it's not something. It's just really hard to deal with at intermediate and lower levels, while it's really easy to do. But at higher levels, the risk reward gets quite bad. I honestly don't know what to do about him. Cause if you nerf him, he's completely useless at higher ends. If you buff him, he's completely obnoxious at lower ends. It's hard to say. But I just personally know that whenever I see Lars in the game, I know I will not be having fun. No matter if I'm winning, if I'm losing, I will just never be having fun against him, which is like I don't think that's a good design personally. Law. Law is insanely strong at the moment, I think, and again, similar to Lars, 111, last hit should be a high. You can still have it at minus 12 because it does give you the heat, so being that minus 12 would be fine, but like this shit should be high. Maybe you could change the 112, like 112 and 111. I don't know. It's hard to say what to do, but I would like to see that changed. Overall, the DSS simplification is a bit dumb. I don't know if I can do it at the moment. I have not tested this. I think I'm a bit early with that. But like, it's not hard to do. I got it there immediately. But again, Lars, I mean, Law is a hard one to change because it used to be really execution heavy. He got some nerfs from Tekken 7 because of the simplified execution, but I think he does need some nerfs. Not much, but some small things should be changed. Yeah, that's about it. Mostly though, it's just like Law is insanely strong. I don't know exactly what to change with him. The DSS simplification might be an option, but I don't think people would like that. I don't know. That's about it for Law. Lee. Okay, now I'm sorry, I will be biased here, but I think Lee is too risky. So all of Lee's moves are either super linear or slow, obviously, or the combination of them, or high, or just death on block, or even on hit at times. So one by one, I'm sorry this rant will take a bit longer than others, but firstly, I would like to remove back 3-3. I don't think that works for Lee. I don't like the just take a guess situation you get, and the fact is that it is launch punishable on block. I'm not the biggest fan of this move personally. Just remove it so that it's not natural anymore on normal hits. But as a trade-off, I would like to see this armor made into a mid. It's fine if you have it as a high, if you give the normal armor change where you can punish them on block. But currently the fact that this is a high, it's a bit dumb because if you have the right read, you can still duck it at times from some moves, making it punishable on hit. I mean, if you have the right read, it's still punishable because you can duck it after mashing into it. So that's something I would like to be looked at. I think the M4 is insanely risky because again, if you finish it, it's launched on block because you can duck the last hit. If you only do 2 hits on block, it's still minus 13, and it is really fast, given that is absolutely true, and that speed is why it's supposed to be so good. But the issue is that you don't get much damage from it either. I missed the just frame there, but it's still it's not that much damage. It's 56 with that combo I did if I get the just frame, and considering the risk I'm taking of getting a full launch, it's just a bit much, even with the speed being as fast as it is. Overall, I would like to see Lee's 50-50, things like this, removed or nerfed, and the counter hit options he has, mainly down 4 and 4-4-4, nerfed. I mean buffed. So I would give down 4 a couple of extra frames to hit confirm that. That would still be fair, make the game plan interesting, because this shit is minus 14 on hit, meaning if you don't see the counter hit and you do only the first hit, you're still punishable. But it comes into a mind game of will they punish, or will the lead do the follow-up, or will he just not do the follow-up instead of just duck the follow-up and launch, because now you can't confirm it the way, at least in my at least I haven't been able to confirm it. I might be bad, but I think it's just a bit too risky. Same for 4-4-4. Something I think would be nice to change on this move. It's the combo is just too weak for the damage you get. That's what I'm saying. And again, too risky, essentially. which not it's not nice because in my opinion, at least in Tekken 7, Lee was really safe. You could just play like just wait out, look for a magic 4 and play around that. I think that's the game plan. Like Lee as a counter hit specialist was the cool part. I would like to see some of that thing come back and remove things like, well, mainly this being natural. I think is the biggest change I would do for a direct nerf as a trade-off. If you don't want to do the universal armor change, I would like this to be changed into mid. That's minus 16, minus 15 or minus 16 on block. With a heat dash, if it's minus 16 or 15, it should be minus 10. So it should still be punishable on block, even with a heat dash. But that's only if you don't want to make the universal armor change of them being punishable even on block. Like even if you mash into them on block. Lastly, I want to mention slide. I don't want to see this buffed again. I said I will be biased, but I'll try to be fair. This is 23 damage, which is the same as hatchet kick. Comes from a stance, aka full crouch. Requires a just frame input for the 23 damage, which is the same as hatchet again. And it's minus 15 on block at point blank. Obviously, you can do it from further away to get better plus frames and have it be safer. The issue is that you don't really have anything to threaten your opponents with from here. Actually, to be honest, like your mids aren't too scary usually overall, but like out in my opinion. But that's fine. Again, counter hit character. I don't mind that. I don't mind hard pickups. Again, even if this being a hard pickup, I don't mind that. It's just the risk reward doesn't feel like it fits. It's that's I think is the issue here. Too risky essentially. He's quite linear, which is good. I like linear characters. I think linear characters is the way to go. I think that is a nice way of balancing the game. All characters should be quite linear with a like couple of homing moves. Lee has 1+2, which is really nice on counter hit. Normal hit it does nothing. Backpack 4, which is nice again on hit even because you do get a launch here, but it's a slow high. And then down forward 1 tracks his weak side, which is good, but like you can just step left essentially all of these like other moves he has, which is a bit like it's hard to deal with, but it's I think that's a good way. I think that's a good way to balance character. I think all characters should be steppable like that. Well, almost all at least. Leo. Leo is a character I used to really dislike. I'm kind of changing my opinion on Leo. There are a couple of things that I definitely would like to see. This down back 1+2 is minus 12 now if you don't go into stance. I think it should be minus 15. You already have this and then this to mix up with. So I think you should always be able to just minus 15 on this on block, even if you don't go into stance. It doesn't change essentially anything. Just essentially removes one option, makes it so that you can just always, for example, hop kick it. But that's one thing I would like to see. Leo has some really strong tools. For example, if I do this launcher is insanely strong. And like the range control with like moves like this is incredibly good. Being able to borderline hit confirm this for insane damage, like that's 40 damage, and obviously you get a wall spot as well. Leo's wall combo is crazy good. That is insanely strong, I would say, but there are like I'm starting to turn around on Leo a bit. I used to dislike him more than I do now, and currently I would say that mainly just things like this should be looked at. Maybe you could look at the like I don't know what to do about this options. Maybe make the mid a little bit weaker. It's -6, so maybe make it -9, so then like you have a reason to use like all of the options. Outside of that though, like down forward 2 is insanely strong. I wouldn't touch that. I would leave Leo as it is, except for those couple of things. Leroy. I don't think anybody actually likes the character, as in he's a cool looking character, but there are so few players with like that actually play Leroy because Leroy, I think Leroy is an extremely boring character in some ways. I don't think he's OP. I don't think he's like he's on the weaker side. I think that's fine. Annoying to fight though, because again you're always forced to guess. But I would not touch him. I would leave him as is. I don't know what else to say. It's just I don't think people play Leroy because the move list is just boring overall. Obviously everybody played him when he was released back in Tekken 7 when he was overtuned. After that it's like you never see a Leroy, I think. So cool looking, but like the move list is boring. Lily, there was a time when people said that Lily is really strong. She was nerfed, and overall I'd say she's mostly fine currently. Like, there are some things that arguably could be looked at, but mostly I would leave Lily as she is. You could argue like sidestep 4 being a bit nuts, being like a counter hit launcher. Same for forward 4 being as safe as it is as a counter hit launcher. But I don't know. I would not touch Lily at the moment. The damage is obviously insanely strong, but like I just leave her as she is currently. Re-evaluate after other changes if needed. If you really want to do something, I honestly don't know. The fact that this is launch punishable is good. I don't know. Maybe some of the evasion on string. I don't know. I wouldn't touch her at the moment. Nina. Nina needs to be gutted. She is arguably the best character in the game. I mean, you could say that argument. You could say that about Yoshi. You could say that about Dragunov. The down 4-2-1 situation is absolutely insane. She has so scary options afterwards on block. Obviously, her issue is that she is kind of execution heavy. But like something needs to be done. It's just she has like better pressure than Horang. Everything seems to track like insanely well, and great damage, great everything, great poking, great like legit just great everything. I don't know exactly what to do. Like maybe nerf every tool a little bit, but like for example, just down forward 1 has so like crazy strong follow-ups. It's insane. Like down forward 1-2 being jailing. If you remove the jailing there, that would change a lot already. Being able to duck that instead of needing to hold. Because right now, if you just block this, you can still deal with all of the follow-ups just by blocking. But the issue is that at that point, you're just blocking and giving Nina the option to do whatever she wants. I don't know what else to say about Nina. It's just she just needs to be essentially gutted. Like just quite big nerfs overall. Panda I discussed. Paul. Overall, Paul is on the weaker end of like fine, like he's fine, I would say. So I wouldn't touch him too much. You could argue that the backswing from like down forward 1 is a bit nuts, considering like it's like essentially down forward 1 into down forward 1. It's on block. It's essentially like -2, I believe. So like you can't down forward 1 in between that, I think, or maybe it trades. I think it is insanely strong, I would say. And the backswing options overall are actually kind of crazy. Mainly talking about like the lows and the 2 here. You could look into the backswing a bit, down forward 1 a bit, and then the evasion he gets from some situations like down forward 2, crushing highs. Like this setup is a classic. But I wouldn't touch him too much. Just some like gimmick stuff essentially. Raven, I personally really like Raven. I think he's a perfectly designed quote-unquote gimmick character. He's quite risky, but he has good combo damage if you do the good combos, which I don't have the execution for. I have not practiced them, but I really like the way Raven looks, how Raven works. He's essentially always taking big risks for a pretty decent reward. Like technical character, nice combos. One thing I think they should remove from him is this launcher is a bit dumb. I thought it was always cool that he needed I-16 to launch standing. But other than that, I think Raven is in a really good spot. I really like the way this character works. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I would not touch anything from Raven, to be honest, outside of maybe the I-15 launch. It is still a tornado launch, obviously, so it's not that bad. But you still get decent damage from it if you do the correct combo. It's not... I'm not sure what the correct one is, actually. I think it's something like this. I actually might be... this. That works. That's decent damage. It's nothing to scoff at, and there might be something better. That's just what I thought, like, really quickly. But I really like the way Raven works. It's a cool character with cool options. Reyna. Reyna, on the other hand, I really dislike. Similar to Lars, at intermediate, all of the stance transitions are insanely strong. It is incredibly strong, all of the stance options she has. Forward throw 2 is still a really strong move. It is on normal hit guarantees the hit engage. I don't know how exactly you would nerf her. I think she's similar to Lars with the stances, but she has the neutral tools like electric, good downforward 1 with great follow-ups. Her lows are a bit questionable, quite risky that is, but her mids are insanely strong. So I would, I don't know what to touch about her outside of what I said about electric being like touched for every Mishima. But like essentially just the stance transitions are a bit insane, and this shit should jail, and even the first hit should be -15. If I do it like this, you see it's only -14. Have it at -15, and if you do the follow-up, it should jail so that you can always launch this. And again, same thing as with like Lee, make it so that you can actually punish it on if you get jabbed in between here, like during the beginning of the power crush, and still block the power crush, you should be able to punish it, especially like even launch. Reyna's follow-ups are for downforward 1 are really scary, and the stance transition makes it really annoying to deal with. Even though like the stance is quite risky, it's still like, again, at intermediate level, it's just so free, because like being able to do a 3 on block, like on a block on mix up from any range, any situation. Essentially, you want to mix them up, take it, like they are essentially forced to take a guess, at least at intermediate level, and I think that is just incredibly strong, even if it is quite risky. Essentially Lars with like strong fundamental tools, which makes him like her good at high level, unlike Lars. I don't know what else to say about her. Shaheen, I like Shaheen. Similar to Dragunov and Claudio, I think he's a really nice tournament character. He's a bit on the stronger side, but hard to say what to change specifically, because it's just like the generic, like everything is just good. But I do think that he's maybe arguably a bit too strong, but I don't know what to change with him. Again, it's just the package is a bit much, maybe. It is also true that like nobody plays Shaheen, very few people at least, and especially online, so you don't see him too much, so it might just be unfamiliarity. But I have seen people agree that it's a bit much. Outside of that, I don't know what to say. Things like this shouldn't be like, obviously they should be duckable like everybody else, similar moves. But it's hard to say what to do with Shaheen specifically. I like the way Shaheen works, even though like he's a bit on the stronger side. Oh, and also the while standing combos, 1-standing 3 combos, which I can't do. I love those. It's such a cool combo in my opinion, even though like it's not a combo I'm used to, and I haven't practiced it, and I can't do it. The loops are, in my opinion, incredibly cool. It's so fun to see like people do the like 3 loops into while standing 3 as a tornado. Let's see if I can do it like twice. No, I can't. It's good damage. It's good wall carry. I really like that. I would like to see like that shouldn't be changed. I'm too late there, I think. But that's cool. I like Shaheen. Steve Fox. Mostly I think he's fine. Personally, like people say he's on the weaker side. I think that's true. But again, I would like to see the power level of the game come down. Obviously, back one is a god tier move still. I wouldn't touch that too much. I've never really liked fighting Steve because of the way his rushdown works. But that is a skill issue. I wouldn't touch Steve essentially at all currently. It's just not something that I think it should. I think Steve is fine. It's just a bit annoying to play the rushdown Steve that you see online specifically. Yeah, that's about it. You could argue giving him the Shiro combo back could be cool. I don't know. You still do have access to I think that's, yeah, that should be you should be able to do this if you do it frame perfectly, which I will not do. I have not practiced that at all. I believe that's doable, but maybe you could argue Shiro, but I would probably just leave him as he is currently for now at least, and reevaluate after changes. So Victor's combos are insane. Like the wall carry is absolutely bonkers. I would not touch that though at the moment. What I would touch is the wall combo, specifically this one. Mainly because, especially in heat, the mix-up you get afterwards in EI is absolutely crazy strong. I don't know how to fix that specifically. Maybe you could make it so that you get to get up here without eating a mix-up. I actually don't know. That is, in my opinion, the big thing with Victor. You could argue that being able to move against the stances would be nice. I believe from EI, this, for example, is a borderline homing option. So maybe you should be able to move against the eye a bit easier instead of needing to jab. But the biggest issue I'd say is that wall combo and the 50-50, especially at the wall and in heat with the eye. Next up, Ling. Mainly Hypnotist is quite insane. Maybe the Hypnotist low could be a little bit riskier. It is insanely strong after all, especially with how easily and how free it is to enter Hypnotist. Feel like Tekken 7, I really like the Tekken 7 Ling. She needed to play around her opponent a lot. Meaning that if you just stood around and blocked against Ling in Tekken 7, she really didn't have any good options to deal with you. Now, because of Hypnotist and all of the other options, well, obviously this is the same as in 7, but because of that, because of Hypnotist and Heat, Ling kind of gets to mix you up, which makes it incredibly hard to play against. So I would probably change that somehow. I like the fact that she was essentially forced to play around the opponent's attacks with dumb evasion. That's fine. That was interesting. That made her unique, which good. AOP is obviously absolutely incredible. This shit goes under lows at times. It's insanely strong. But it's more about the 50-50 and being able to just force your opponent into guessing, and especially since the reward is so high, especially if you delay it. Obviously, it doesn't the combo damage isn't huge. It's pretty good. It's not bonkers insane, but the fact that she even has it, it's really nice. That's not bad damage either way. So maybe make the low a little bit riskier. I don't know what else to say. Yeah. But I would say that she needs some nerfs. Yoshi, another arguable top 1. I think big thing is that he has everything. He has insane Oki, he has insane damage, he has insane setups, he has flash, he has everything. So I would maybe look at the like wall combos, specifically the able to like set up things with forward 1+2. This move is insanely strong, I think. Obviously it is punishable on block, -12. It's essentially just that he has everything. Like his damage is crazy good. He gets to do damage essentially for free because of all the gimmicks, how scary it is to mash into him. It's a character that you can't block against because of the unblockables and all the like options he has, but it's also a character that you can't press against because of flash and the couple of parry options and things like that. So I think the big thing is if you reduce his damage by a significant amount, that would help him help the game quite a bit, because then he still has the options to beat you for free essentially, but just you don't die if you eat a single combo. Like I don't know if I can do a simple good combo here, but something like just this, like being guaranteed, is so strong at like any level of play. That charge attack is completely unavoidable. The way you should deal with that is just stay on the ground so you don't die to the follow-ups, and obviously back to 2 is about the launcher and heat. So it's just too much with the amount of damage he can get, especially like his wall combo is so strong. Like if you do, for example, as a like it's just too strong. Let's see, like something like this into delay that, it's just too much. So damage probably should be touched. Other thing, especially no sword stance flash has a bit too much range. Like again, that Kazuya is just standing there and it's still hitting him. And lastly, you could argue changing the actually even in like sword stance it still hits if you're a slider of axis. And then maybe you could touch the flash in that on block it's -15, but like make it have some block stun, meaning you have a couple of more frames to react to the flash. It should be -15. That -15 is fine. Just a couple of more frames to see the flash and punish it on block would be nice. So essentially increase the recovery for both players. Zafina, not the biggest fan of fighting her. I always like playing her with the like fundamental tools she has. Like down foot 1 is nice. Obviously it's quite bad on block, -5. Down 3 is really strong. Obviously top players can't see that as far as I've understood. I wouldn't touch Zafina currently. I would reevaluate her after the other changes. Her combo damage is on the weaker end, which I think is fine. She is supposed to be a gimmick character, I feel like, with things like that, for example. You could argue that this +22 is a bit much, especially on block. It's really good, I think, giving only -5 into really evasive stance, with especially in heat, since you get armor options from wait, it's downfall 1. Yeah, downfall 1. It's nice. I don't know what to do about Zafina. I would, if you want to buff him, buff Zafina. I don't know what to do. I would leave her as she is and reevaluate after the other changes. Only DLCs left. Eddie, mostly fine. One move I would like to see changed is this, 4-4-3. This low hits from Narnia. It is a dash, so like obviously depending on how long dash you do, it can hit from insane range. Even without like a long dash, it still has good range, and it's only -13. The -13 is a bit weak, like a bit too much, I think, considering how much it gives on counter hit, what it gives on normal hit. Like this is essentially a mix-up on normal hit between like the safe mid or like this shit. Of course you have other options to do. Again, like for example this is only -2 mid, -8 with a hit confirmable like heat engage follow-up, insanely strong. And then you have the Hell Sweep. It's really nice. Just spam this shit. It's so strong at like intermediate level. And on counter hit, it does guarantee this, or I think it guarantees also the crouch throw. I never did that. Yeah, it does. Because I just did this personally. Better damage, and this also does launch for massive damage on counter hit. I mean here. You can get a better combo because it's a hit dash, so you can do more hits there. But I would look at this being like -14 maybe. Outside of that, I would leave Eddie as he is. Lydia. Lydia was actually the second Tekken King I got after Lee, like right after she was released. So it's been a while since I played her, but I would honestly not touch her essentially at all actually. I like the way she played. She's quite risky, I will give you that. Again, you could look at maybe making this -3. Outside of that, I would not touch Lydia. It's an interesting character in my opinion, because she has some insanely strong tools, but this is really strong. Super linear though. I think Lydia has the thing that her tools are quite strong, but really linear, and if you want to go for like low or something, it's quite risky. I liked the way she worked. It's been a while, so like I might really hate playing her now once people have gotten a bit more used to her. But like I would say that she's on the weaker side of characters overall, and I think that's fine. This setup is like, this is insanely strong, being able to get the heat engage on counter hit here. It's I-15 again, so being able to get the essentially frame trap from the Heaven and Earth 2 is really nice, I think. So for example here, Heaven and Earth 2 and +6. If I do down for 2, if they match anything, it's a launch because I get to do the heat dash launcher there. Heaven and Earth is really strong stance overall. The mid is really scary. I think the down back 3 is nice. I wasn't the biggest fan of it at first, but I've kind of come around when I played her. It's not like, it's decent damage, it's 20 damage into a stance options, but on counter hit it's a bit more, and the thing is that it's risky. That's the main thing why I like it. And of course, if you trade with a jab, you get a guaranteed political storm, I believe, which is nice. I like Lydia. Good risk. The fact that she's linear is good. I think most characters should be linear, like I said earlier. I would not touch her at the moment. See what happens if you change other characters first. And lastly, Heihachi, the newest character in the game. People say that he has no tracking options. He has some weak tracking things, like some of his moves have weak tracking, but I think his downforward 1 has really strong tracking, which is a bit annoying to deal with. That maybe you could look at. Obviously back 4 tracks his like strong side as well, and launches for 1 billion damage on counter hit. Other than that, I wouldn't touch Heihachi too much. One change I would most definitely make is down back 2. This move should, like, the change I would do is change the voice line timing. Make it like it was in Tekken 7 where where Heihachi shouts Hashi at the beginning of the animation instead of when it connects. It's not a big change, just slight, like, because it's easier to react to sound. I think having that, it would be nice. Outside of that, I think it's fine. His damage is obviously absolutely bonkers. As I like, it's even if you do just some bad combo, it's still like really strong. I would not touch it too much at the moment, but it's just something to consider. Obviously the warrior instinct stance or install is insanely strong. You only get it once a game. I wouldn't touch it too much. The heat smash, you being able to either floor break or wall splat or even wall break is quite nuts. And especially since you also get the stance mix up at the end on walk, it is quite nice. I wouldn't touch that yet at the moment. I might look at the tracking options for mainly down forward 1, maybe some jab situations, but like outside of the down back 2, this is the main thing I would change. Others are like, okay, you could consider those if you feel like Heihachi is too strong after other changes. That should be all of them. I don't think I have anything else to add outside of those. Maybe there was some universal change I was thinking that I could have mentioned, but I don't think anything right now would make sense. Like, I don't think I've forgotten anything. The video is quite long. If you're watching still, why? No, I'm joking, obviously. Thanks for watching. I don't know what else to say about this at the moment. Would be nice to have a conversation about why I'm wrong. Specifically, I'm interested in why people see Lee as like really strong. I think he's too risky again. So I'd like to hear people's opinions on different characters. Thanks for watching. See ya.